12. Hello, and welcome to 15 minutes early.
Hello.
Oh, God.
Oh, goodness, sorry.
You get really spicy in the ears. See, that's why it's loud. You're the spicy one.
You get really spicy in the ears. Thank you.
So we're not doing games.
Yes.
Explain.
Okay, off the top, we're making a change to our formatting. So basically, typically, we will do an hour of drawing and then an hour of playing games with Patreon people and non-Patreon people. And we have decided to do an exclusive game stream instead of doing both art and games in a single stream. So I think the first weekend of the month we will be doing the game stream. So it'll just be playing Drawful and the Inventor game. I forget what it's called.
Patently stupid.
That one and other Jackbox games. And then I guess 2 weeks a month we'll do just art. And then the crit stream is the last weekend of the month. Hopefully that is fun for everyone, and hopefully it gives more people a chance to join in on the games, because normally we only do 2 rounds and we could do 4.
All right, let's draw. There you go. We did it. Hello, Andy. Hello, Dat Boy Darius, Starcat Galactic, sorry, Battery. Oh no.
Why do you mean to Battery?
Oh no, June's here too.
Oh no.
Oh, you agree with the oh no to that.
Well, yeah, it's June.
I mean, I guess Battery's sweet, but I don't know. I just oh no when the patrons are here.
How dare they be here?
Just pay your money and leave.
So rude. So gosh darn rude.
Oh my God. Okay, I really need to just stop allowing you guys to buy things on Etsy.
No more Etsy sales.
No, just stop. Because we got another 9 points to do. And it's really hard to get to the post office right now, guys. I'm just one man, and the trip to the post office is ridiculous because people just are on the trail all the time now. I don't know. They can't think of anything else to do, so they're on the trail. Just oh, thank you. Thank you. Please breathe on me.
Thank you for crowding around me in a group of bikes.
Oh my God, yes. I stopped at a crosswalk, and then suddenly there's 5 people on bikes just a foot from my face. Yeah. So, Meanwhile, there was an elderly couple that were stopped just watching people crossing, and I was approaching, and then I just walked to the other side of the road so they could finally leave.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, the problem is there's one sidewalk.
Yeah.
It's only on one half of the road.
Mm-hmm.
We should just be in Cambridge. Everyone just walks in the middle of the street.
Exactly.
It's the culture. Battery has done no wrong. Battery's stinky. Those are very contrary statements. The streams are super fun. Thank you. You're super fun.
Battery
Lots
and
of animal facts. Yes.
Battery and June are this channel's villains. Yes. It is true.
I don't know if Battery is.
Yeah, Battery is pretty sweet.
Like me. Wait, no.
Bones is the other villain.
Figured it out.
People can be stinky and good. That is true.
I'm just stinky. It's just rude to call someone stinky. So calling a good person stinky. Well, I guess you're rude. Me and Ursula were talking about what we hate about each other before the stream. Bones is stinky and rude. Yeah, it's true.
Okay, Bones says this thing where we'll be having a conversation. Say we're talking about animal facts, and then suddenly he will just start talking about something that maybe we talked about 20 minutes previously, or just a new thing that he's thinking about. So he'll just stop and be like, we need to buy this thing. And I'll be like, what? He'll be like, we need to buy an oven. And I'll be like, we need an oven? Why? And he's like, no, my Sims need an oven. And it's okay, context. Bones.
Sorry, I'm reading an important email. I got distracted.
Oh dear. That's what he does on these streams. He ignores me for important emails.
And you ignore me to do art.
Yeah, that's part of the stream. Emails is not part of the stream.
I'm sorry. Lambda Literary needs our help.
Oh heck.
They had to cancel a bunch of stuff because of COVID.
Oh,
They helped get LGBT writing into schools and stuff. And help LGBT writers. So give them your money, I guess.
Hell yeah.
Donate to them.
Yes.
Sorry I got distracted. I know.
Gosh.
I know you're describing how I just like my brain goes to a different place. They're doing all right. They have 79,000 out of the 175,000 that they need.
Oh man.
I could do that. I can save the receipt and it can go to taxes.
Heck yeah.
Hell yeah.
Heck yeah.
Maybe after the stream. I don't want to get my credit card right now.
Yeah, maybe don't.
They can't see my screen. I won't yell my credit card details aloud.
I just mean pay attention to the stream.
What do you mean? I'm you know what I do on these streams is I look through the internet for something to talk about. Okay?
Okay.
There's a lot that goes into my brain. I'm reading the chat, I'm looking at other things. Gosh. How do you think I come up with all these animal facts? Support the gay agenda. Exactly. Bones, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Ursula's just judging me like a whole bunch.
You know who the real troublemaker of our channel is?
Who?
Tuesday.
Tuesday is not.
Tuesday is objectively like the sweetest person.
That's true. The real troublemaker is you.
Me?
Yeah.
No.
I'm going to go out of the way and say that Ursula's probably worse than me. You just don't realize it.
Oh my god.
Ursula will talk forever about me being distracted. Meanwhile, she is the most distracted person. It has been like 24 hours since her last reply to our RP.
Listen.
And I have reminded her multiple times. I've seen her open the app and start typing and then just get distracted by something. So please tell me how I am the most distractible in this house. Please. Accusations being thrown left and right. I spend so much time thinking about Bones reading like what to talk about on streams, guys. Everyone's getting called out. Yay, everyone bully Ursula. Agreed.
How dare you?
There's like a huge problem with like whenever people meet us for the first time, they think I'm like an abusive person.
Yeah, it's come up multiple times. It's weird.
Yeah.
I think it's just everyone thinks I'm a baby.
I also have resting like bitch face. There's Ursula is objectively super adorable. So when she's being mean and I'm just like not talking to her because she's being mean, everyone's like, wow, why are you being so mean to Ursula? And it's like, she's bullying me. Yeah. Oh my god, but people think that about me, but with Bones. Yeah.
Yes.
No, protect Ursi. How dare you not respond to text RP or Ushi?
I'm sorry. It's hard. I actually had a moment last night where I was like, I was just staring at the reply and I was just like, I'm so depressed. I can't think of anything to say.
Oh no.
But then we went and played Sims together and had fun.
That's true. Oh, I am a micromanaging person. Like,
yes.
Like I have issues. I think part of it is like I can be really mean, and Ursula is like hanging out with friends or something because we all decided we're gonna work together, and like we're at a public event, and I'm like, Ursula, stop talking to people and get your work done. And people are like, wow, that's really abusive and controlling. It's like, she told me that she wants to write at this event and to make sure that I do it. And then if I come around and I'm like, Ursula, you're not doing your stuff, it's like suddenly I am a controlling person.
Clearly.
She asks me to. She told me to do this.
Like,
and she'll
sure
fight
thing.
me too.
I know.
Like,
That's why I need you to keep me accountable, because I'll fight.
Like, Ursula, get your work done. And she's like, no, stop telling me what to do. I'm good. Okay, that's not what she does. She usually goes like, oh, I don't want to. That's her.
Accurate.
Phone's abusing everyone in the household. It's true. Oh man, okay. I wanted to talk about roommates. I think that it's fine for us to finally talk about these roommates if we haven't already. I think we have talked about them.
I think we've talked about our silly roommates before.
But I feel like I need to become a storytime YouTuber and just tell you all my stories. I'm not going to talk about Sally though, because Sally is still our friend.
She's sweet.
Sally is still our friend. We had problems, but I was also a huge problem.
But yeah, I'm sure we weren't a treat to live with all the time.
I 100% agree that I am not a treat to live with. And part of the issue was that I just don't like living with people in general.
Except for me, right?
Yeah, I like living with you,
okay.
Honestly. You're good.
Oh,
God, they were roommates. Gasp, roommates. Glances at height chart. I have micromanaging issues. I'm really bad. I refuse to believe Bones is a delight to live with. Okay. If we're being honest, I'm a really sweet person.
You are. You're very thoughtful and sweet.
I'm a very caring person. I don't want anyone to hurt themselves or anything, but you're also not my responsibility. You're an adult. I don't take on people's problems, because I used to have friends where I would just take on all their problems, and you can't do it. You can't solve everyone's issues. I don't have time for that. Okay. I'll send you to a therapist. I'll take your hand and walk you there. I have done that for multiple people, but I am not sitting down and talking to you about your emotional baggage, because I don't have time for that stuff. Okay. Like, I want to hang out and have fun with my friends. And usually it's like, if a friend isn't like at least like 60% of the time fun to be around, I don't want to deal with your baggage. Like, I want to have more fun than I have not fun.
Yeah.
With the friends. Like, a lot of the friends I ended up cutting out. Like, I feel bad because they obviously have a lot of problems, but I just can't. I got too much in my life to be dealing with that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, my friend who showed up to my house and was like, let's do a fun little, like, let's drink and write. Like, let's do what is it? A drunk writing session?
Yeah.
Because, like, you can get more stuff done. And they proceeded to just get wasted at my house and, like, just tell me about all of their, like, family and friendship drama. And they were in, like, this cycle of being, like, super obnoxious and then super depressed, and it was ridiculous. And it ended up with them running out into the street in a downpour, and we had to drag them back inside. And this was like a constant problem with this friend, but they didn't have a plan on how to get home.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was a huge problem with both of us. Like I would sometimes come to their house and not have a plan to get home. But by the time, like, they came over to my house and didn't have a plan, I was, like, adult, and I always had a plan to get home. I could pay for an Uber and all that crap. Yeah, it was just... And that was the last time I saw that friend, because I was like, that is ridiculous. I am not having you over again.
Well, they were also the person who scared the crap out of you when they said goodbye forever on Facebook and then, like, deleted their account. You were like, calling everyone who knew them, like, are they okay? Are they okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I texted everyone, like, are they okay? Like, can you check on them? Because yeah, it was, like, at 1 a.m. I got a text from them, and it was just, like, thanks for being a friend. Goodbye. I'm like... And they're, like, a super depressed friend, so of course my immediate response is, oh no, they're gonna, like, hurt themselves or something.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I had the means to go to Bones' house uninvited and get utterly wasted.
You live in our basement, June. What are you talking about?
If only there were Mark here to attest that I'm not a garbage human being, because I won't defend myself. You're not a garbage human being.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I wanted to talk about roommates, because we had ridiculous roommates.
We did. It was like comical.
It was comical and also horrible because there was like one who was super abusive. We'll get to him, but like our very first set of roommates were Sally and this other guy. Since I'm gonna disparage him, we're not gonna we're not gonna name him. He was like not the worst roommate.
No,
in retrospect, he wasn't the worst. So like our first setup was we had 3 roommates and we lived in the basement, which wasn't legal, but you know, like
we didn't have any money.
We got to make money moves, okay? Right? We didn't have that money. And the thing with our house is that I got it from my dad, kind of. Like, I don't own the house, but my dad moved out and we were able to like just stay and keep all the stuff.
Yeah.
So we owned everything in the house, and I don't think we made it clear enough that we were just renting out rooms rather than the entire house. Like, you could use the kitchen, but you weren't allowed to like the living room's not really yours. Like, go to your room. Like, you're paying less to be here. You're not paying rent. You're not paying hydro. You're not paying internet. We're covering all of the utilities and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we had this. What's terrifying? Sounds like a mess. I think you're joining a Webtoons short story contest. Probably not. I don't do much. Party in Bones' basement. You're all invited to my basement. Yeah, but we wanted the house to be heckin' cheap. We also had one roommate, a third roommate that I always forget about, but he was like a worker who would come down on the weekends. Was it the weekends?
No, through the week.
Through the week, he would just sleep at the house because he worked down south, and then would return to his family up north, and it was probably just cheaper than getting like Airbnb.
Yep. Because he was paying so little a month instead of like the same amount every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got us in trouble with our neighbors because we'd leave cigarette butts everywhere, and he totally smoked in the room, which we didn't want him to.
Yeah.
Yeah. He probably smoked out the window. We were able to get rid of the smoke smells because he didn't stay that long.
Yeah.
Yeah. He wasn't the best, but it was like, for the money we got from him, he wasn't that bad.
Yep.
Especially when we consider our last roommate.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had this one roommate who was ridiculous. So he was like a Mennonite, right?
Was he?
Yeah. He was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like, he showed up at the house, and at first I thought he was gay. Because he was very femme. But also not. I don't know. He had Mormon energy. Does that make sense? Yeah. And the only time he'd really left his house was like on this trip he went to Cambodia, and he talked about Cambodia a lot.
Yes.
Me from the Amish. Hello. Yeah. So he was very sheltered and he didn't know a lot. And like that was the fun thing about him. The not so fun thing, I'll just get off the top of my head, was like he would start crap with our neighbors. We're going back to the Bones being like abusive, terrible person, but he would like talk to our neighbors all the time and just kind of like I don't think he realized he was shit talking us, but he totally was.
Yeah.
And he was like, no one in the neighborhood likes you, Bones. Like, you should make an attempt to be friendly. Like, no one likes you. Like, what are you talking about? I did get called out by one neighbor who was like, you never smile when we walk by. And that neighbor later got kicked out for having drugs and stuff. So, like, why did I want to be friends with you? They were the ones with, like, the dogs and stuff.
Oh,
and I was like, I have my headphones in and I just don't smile. Like, I have trouble smiling. Like, I just have a very neutral face. Again, like, that's my problem. And I say hi to the neighbors now and I'm fine. I'm like, I don't think they don't like me.
I know. Like, we don't cause any trouble. Like,
yeah.
The thing is, no one knew our existence except for, like, what he'd tell people about us. And I don't even know what he was saying that made everyone hate us.
I don't even know if they hated us.
Yeah.
He was very, very paranoid that we were going to get evicted.
I don't know why. Because, like,
okay.
we were paying our housing fee on
Well,
time.
the thing is, like, we live in, like, we don't rent, we don't own, we live in, like, a cooperative. So we're basically members of this community, and you have to put in, like, volunteer hours and go to meetings and stuff. And I have never done any of this crap in my life. And I kept trying to tell this to my roommates that we've never done any of the community stuff. We've lived here for over a decade. This community, the only thing they care about is if you can pay rent or you pay your housing fee, right? Like they only care about that because half the people don't pay rent here because they just like they're late. We're always on time. We're great. Imagine being members of a community. But yeah, he was really paranoid that we were gonna get kicked out, and I was like, don't tell them about us living in the basement and stuff because that's not allowed. But just they're not gonna do a housing check. We're fine. We're literally going to be okay, but he just would not believe it, and it just made everything super tense all the time.
I know, because I never worried about getting in trouble with, like, our place, except for when he moved in, and he made me worry about it.
Yeah. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I feel like I'll be a terrible roommate. I'd be blunt and mean. Yeah. Well, anyways, like, aside from that, he was fine, except...
He was silly.
He was just really... oblivious. Like I said, he was really sheltered, and he really didn't know how to live on his own. And he had his entire furniture was a mat. He like slept on this floor mat.
Oh, right.
And he would never turn on the heat because he was also paranoid about like because I think he wanted like us to lower his rent for him because he was always like, again, he was naive, and he would, like, ask people how much money they make at work and how much your rent is worth and this and that and try and figure out the math on things, which is really rude, and you probably shouldn't do it.
Oh, yeah, because, like, I remember he once asked me, like, how much are you paying to be here? And I was like, dude, I'm paying all the utilities. Like, go away.
Because he wanted to know, like, if, like, he used less heat, he could get, like, a reduced price. And it was stupid annoying because he would never put the heat on, which caused like our house is really prone to mold, so he caused a whole bunch of mold in his room. It was great because he never turned the heat on, so it was nice and moist in there. Great. Thank you, Nate. Thank you. He also almost set the house on fire because he didn't realize you weren't supposed to mix oil and water when he was cooking something, and he tried to cool it, the hot frying pan full of oil, by pouring some water on it. It was great. It smoked up the entire house. Wonderful.
Yep.
I like to just kind of do like I got mean. I feel like I was so mean to him sometimes. Like I gaslit him. I was bad. Because there was one time I walked in and he had a pot full of water and he had just his pasta noodles in it, and it was just cold water. And you're not supposed to do that. If anyone knows, before you put your pasta noodles in, you're supposed to get a rolling boil. And I was just staring at him, and which I started doing whenever he was doing something ridiculous, and then I just watch him, and he was just very uncomfortable. He's like, what am I doing wrong? And then I was like, you have to put the heat on, because he hadn't turned his element on. He'd been staring at these cold noodles like these
For like 20 minutes.
Yeah, like 5 minutes or so.
Oh,
He'd just been staring at them, I guess.
He was a pretty good sport about, like, when we'd tease him about this stuff.
Yeah.
My favorite was when, for Christmas one year, Bones and I were going to have a date. And we were going to watch, like, Love Actually together in the living room. And, like, we were the only ones home. So we were just cuddled up on the couch watching. And then our roommate came home. And he was like, oh, I love this movie. And he, like, sat down with us. And just interrupted our date. And just watched the whole movie with us. It was really funny.
And honestly, it was fine. Like, hanging out with him was usually fine. Like, I found that I could talk to him. I was really annoyed with him at the time, but in retrospect, I don't hate him
No.
or anything. He was funny. Yeah, he tried to set fire to the house to to get rid of the mold. Exactly. Another time, okay, so the biggest gaslighting thing I ever did with him was I tried to convince him that we hadn't gotten a new cat for like a day, because we got our cat Tuna, and we had her separated from Molly because we were introducing them slowly, and he saw her and he's like, "Did you guys get a new cat?" And I was like, "No." What are you talking about? Yeah, I do that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like, I say gaslighting, but it was like more like dad tier gaslighting, pranking.
Yeah.
You know, my dad does that kind of stuff where you're like, "No, what are you talking about?" And like I just was very convincing to him, so he would believe stuff I would say. I would just say a blatant lie and see how long he would believe it. Why would you do that? I don't know. It was just funny.
It was funny.
This is what I'm saying when I'm not the best roommate either.
He was just so trusting. It was so hard to like not tease him.
This poor guy is so relatable. He was. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that he was constantly talking to the neighbors and like panicking all the time, like I would have been fine with having him.
Oh, totally.
He even ended up leaving on his own accord. He was like, I don't, because the thing about him is he really wanted a community and I didn't. Like, I was just like, just pay rent. I just want to live in my house and just live my life.
Yeah, he really wanted us
Bones,
to all
I'm
be
not
friends.
a bully. Also, Bones. Yeah. I agree. I was mean to him. I also taught Matika to jump on him.
Right.
I was really mean. I feel really bad sometimes, but I also don't, because he was funny and a good sport about it. I just got mad at him with like the roommate stuff. Phone's so loud. Oh, there was one time which was kind of funny and sweet. Was he dropped a Cocoa Puff and Matika ate it, and he was so scared. He was like, "Oh my god!" He like came in and he was like, how much chocolate can a dog have? And I was like worried, and then he was like, "I dropped a Cocoa Puff and Matika ate it." And I was like, "Oh my god, she's gonna be fine. There's barely any chocolate."
I know, because like he was really absent-minded, so we were worried that like he'd left like an entire chocolate bar on the floor or something.
Yeah. Oh, I've become less and less of a bully as I grow up. Me. Yeah, he was. Yeah. He also really didn't understand trans stuff and was weird about it. He learned. He did send us a message after moving out and was like, "Wow, I was rude about some things. I'm sorry." I'm like, "Oh, that's cool."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's a nice guy.
Yeah. Again, I don't. Yeah, it's fine. I'm a curmudgeon. Like, I'm a curmudgeon, and I was mean. Yeah. I think he ended up moving in with like 8 people.
Oh yeah, and he was like because he went to like a dorm type place,
Yeah.
and he moved in with 8 people, and he was like, I thought living with like 4 people was bad with 1 bathroom.
Oh god.
But 8 people with 1 bathroom.
That was also a trouble.
Yes.
Was every single person we got loved to take really long showers.
It was so annoying.
Yeah. And we have 1 bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah. This poor boy, I'm wheezing. Okay. So Nathan, sorry, his name totally isn't. It's something. I need to just make up fake names.
Yeah.
He's fine. Okay, this lovely lad is totally anonymous. He moved out. You're gonna draw? Thank you, battery. Name drop.
So rude. Not gonna say any names. Says a name.
I'm really sorry. Our next roommate was the worst person ever. Like, okay, I'm gonna again admit that I'm not a great person to live with. Okay, I don't think I gaslit this guy though. Um, I think I mainly did it to Nathan because it was funny and he had fun with it. Right? Like, I usually half the time. Okay, like aside from the cat thing, which was ridiculous of me, and sometimes I would like see if he knew something, and like it's because he didn't know so many things that he was like a child, like where you could say something false, like I'd say something blatantly untrue about dogs or something, and he'd be like fascinated, and then be like, "That's a lie. That wasn't true at all," which is which is something I do to you guys. But
Bones is such a dad.
oh, thank you for ordering it. Be warned, it may take a while to get to you because it's really hard to get to the mailbox right now.
Yes, yeah. One, all the mail goes really slow, and yeah. But
He was gonna complain.
Ordering.
Okay, so our next roommate, Andy. Was there. I have a fake name. Okay, let's see if I stick to it.
Okay.
So he really liked dogs, which I thought was cool. We'd met him at a convention, also cool. We were into like some of the same things, cool. So like he moved in, we talked about dogs and stuff. It was great. And then it wasn't like he really sucked.
Like, yeah.
So like the pinnacle of Andy was one day I come downstairs and he's putting all of the stuff that was on top of the microwave. Like I had like a jar of like pennies on top of it. Just like because there was like not a lot of space, and he was putting them all on like the floor and stuff, right? And I'm like, what you're like, oh, what are you doing? And he turned to me and was like, I'm gonna need you to stop putting stuff on top of my microwave. And I'm like, okay. And I was like, okay, fine. It'd been there since he moved in, and he's like, and he I don't know how like the conversation went, but by the end of it he was like, yeah, like I know you're just putting stuff on it to, what is it,
assert dominance.
Assert dominance. Like
what? he just made up stuff in his head and got mad at you about it.
Yeah,
it was ridiculous.
Oh, and there was another thing was like our toilet, it has a condensation problem where it just gets moist, and
stop.
And eventually it creates like a puddle on the floor. Bones, I'm the alpha. Yes, it creates like a puddle on the floor in our bathroom, and it's like, oh, whatever, you just mop it up, and he was really upset because he didn't like water being left on the floor. Wait, didn't he live with Nathan? Fine, his name's Nathan. Okay. Didn't he live with us while Nathan was here?
Yeah.
Andy?
They overlapped for a little bit.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. They didn't like each other.
No.
Because Andy didn't like anyone, because Andy was like... Andy had problems. Okay.
He was mean.
He was... Yeah. Yeah, okay. But, right. The toilet would... I guess at a previous place, Andy had gotten like a foot fungus from a roommate, and he really didn't want that to happen again. And he would like come down. The thing about Andy was he would wait for Ursula to be gone. He'd wait for like Nathan to be gone. He would wait for like, well, Sally was like a nocturnal person, and he would come down and always talk to me and kind of like corner me to like to air his problems. And he was like, I'm gonna need you to like ask people to like mop up their puddles. And I'm like, it's the toilet. And he's like, the toilet doesn't leak. Or why don't you call a plumber? And I'm like, we've had a plumber check on our toilet like 5 times and they have not been able to fix this problem. It's just because it's behind. We have a toilet that's right beside a window. Like the window's really high, but
our house is so poorly designed.
Yeah, it's beside a window and a heater, so it's like constantly like the wrong temperature. And he was gonna freaking murder you, Bones. He was.
He was.
He was like. He was
scary.
like legitimately like thankfully like I'm a writer and like I've written tons of abusive characters, so like I've researched that and like I'm smart enough to know like what manipulative behavior he was doing, right? Uses his dog facts or oh right, there was another time. Okay, this is contentious, and I think this is why I got upset with like a YouTube comment that was mad at me. But we let our dogs out in the yard on a leash. I know this is bad, right? Like it's like a tethered leash where we like leave them outside. C post to assert dominance. I'm very sorry. I'm sorry I did that. I'm good. But anyways, you're not supposed to put a dog on a leash because it causes them to bark and be like angry at stuff. And yeah, it happens with our dogs. Like I get it, but there's not much we can do. Like in our vlogs, it looks like we have a closed yard, but we don't have a closed yard. There's like empty spaces because we live in like a larger complex, and you need to keep like an exit row so that if there's a fire, people can exit through the back. So like there's not much we can do, so our dogs are outside. Anyways, so I let Matica out in the snow and I went back to my computer and he comes down and he opens the door and like lets her inside, and I'm like, I just put her out. And he's like, it's cold out. She could get hypothermia. Like, like I let her out and she sat there and she's thinking about leaving. Because our dogs always do this stupid thing where we let them outside and they sit on the step for a bit and they think about what they do. And then they go take a pee and then they yell and eventually we let them inside. We do have a problem about not letting them in sometimes. But I'm like, for one, it's like -5 out there. She's not getting hypothermia.
Yeah, it's like it's a nice winter day.
Or Medico would be playing and then he would like push her head down and then just be like, settle. And I'm like, can you leave my dog alone? Like I wouldn't like there. I think he got mad at us because anytime he was in the room, I would just like take the dogs. Or I guess it was one dog at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Andy Dumb. Yeah, I would have kicked him out on a heartbeat. It was just hard because like we needed the money.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah, we would just like, I would just like remove the dogs whenever he was here, and or I guess the dog, because like I didn't like him with Matica. I was like, leave her alone. She's my baby. Go away. And just like with Nathan, how he would like, he did the Love Actually thing where he crashed a date. Andy, every morning, like before Ursula would go to work, me and Ursula would like hang out so we could have like an hour together and just talk about our life and about comics and stuff. And like Andy would come downstairs and he would just like vibe us really hard, and we'd just sit quietly as he would like eat his breakfast. I'm like, just go to your room.
And he'd sit with his back to us and like, I don't know, like pointedly ignore us, I guess.
Yeah.
Or like sometimes we'd be talking and I'd be sitting on the couch and Bones would be off doing other stuff and we'd be talking, and then Andy would come and sit beside me and pointedly ignore me.
Yeah. It was like really tense and weird.
Yeah.
And we'd be like, go eat. And he's like, I don't want to just like eat. I just want to spend my whole life in my room. And I'm like, okay. He was just really, really awful. And so eventually Ursula finally got like a new job. Was that it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's when I got like a full-time job.
I just like got a full-time job, and I'm like, well, we don't need this guy anymore. And so we have a really hard time evicting people. Like, it's been like our problem, aside from Nathan, who thankfully just left on his own. But we were like, okay, Andy, we have
we lied and said we had another tenant coming. Didn't we?
No, I'll tell you the story.
Okay.
I remember this. And we were like, okay, Andy, we're gonna have you move out, right? Like, it's just things aren't great. How about you move out? Like, you seem really upset being here. Okay, just move out. We'll give you like a couple months to find a place, and we'll give you a month to find a place, but then we want you out. And he was like, okay. And we were like sending, like, he ended up just not looking for a place at all. And we're like, okay. And like, we'd send him different places. He had trouble with money. Like, when he first showed up, he had a job and then immediately was fired from said job. And then he was just on government housing benefit, I think. Which is fine. Like, I don't really care. Part of the problem more with that, like, I don't care if you need like a government housing benefit. I think he had like a mental disorder that made it really hard for him to keep a job. Yeah. Like, whatever. Like, no, I don't care if you need that. And I could totally understand that he would have difficulties because he's kind of a butthole. It has nothing to do with mental illness. No. Like, you can have mental illness and not be a total butthole. But anyways, he was on that, so he was constantly in the house and never left. So yeah, that was fun. So he wasn't looking for a place. We were sending him places. He applied he only seemed to like go for houses that were really nice, and I'm like, they're not gonna accept you. Like most of the places didn't accept government housing. Mm-hmm. So like, he had to find a place that was really accepting of that, and he couldn't find anything, and then he just gave up. And then it came to the time of the month where we were like, okay, have you found a place? And he was like, no. And he sat me down when Ursula was gone from the house. We were about to go do a NaNoWriMo thing, I think. And because I remember going to like hang out with all our friends and being like, what the hell? Side note, we used to always have our friends over for like a writing club. And I remember one night, we have a friend who like always has like big schemes, right? Like, I guess not schemes, like, she's always just doing something new and exciting.
Yeah.
And she was trying to finish a novel, and she was like, there's a character who's like a Chinese emperor in it, and I just don't feel equipped because I don't really know any Chinese, so I feel like I need to stop and learn Chinese. And we were all like, this is ridiculous. Like, you do just get your, you know that thing where you're like doing anything but writing. You're like, well, I think it is time for me to learn Chinese. And I'm like, so I started talking as Andy's coming down to do his thing, and he's like, I'm like, friend, you cannot learn Chinese. Chinese is very complicated. It's like a whole other alphabet. Every time I hear people talking about like learning Mandarin, I think it was Mandarin, right? Mm-hmm. For one, it's like Mandarin or Cantonese. Like, which one are you going to learn? You have to learn a whole new alphabet. It's a whole different structure. No, just get your writing done. You can't learn this language. And he, who is like, Andy, shut up, Charlie. So he's like, he comes down, and he was also like this huge like white knight, and was like to my friend, is like, don't listen to him. You can learn Chinese if you want to learn Chinese. Like, I think she's perfectly capable. And I'm like, cool.
Like, yeah, she's capable of learning the language. It's just she should be writing her novel.
Yeah, it was so weird.
Yeah.
That was such a genuine shut up, Charlie. I was gonna go with Nate and Andy because I'm so bad. Anyways, so when we finally go to evict this guy, it's like right before an event. Again, he only talks to me when everyone else is gone from the house because, like, I don't know, he feels like he can intimidate me or something. I don't know. And he's like, I don't think that I'm gonna move out. And I'm like, oh, really? Like, you haven't found a place? And he's like, yeah, there's no places that'll take me. And I think that things like I think like because like the whole pitch was that he's not happy here, and he's like, I think that we should just work on our problems here, and then things will be fine. Like, and I'm like, no, like you need to move out because I wasn't gonna make this all about me because it's like easier to like restructure it to be like, you're not happy here, you should leave. Like, why would you want to stay in this terrible place for you? I was like, you're not happy here, like you don't like being around me all the time, like there's like clearly tension here. And he's like, well, maybe like you should work on fixing that. And he was like, have you ever noticed that like the people that move out are like all people you've had problems with? Like maybe you're the problem, like you're the common denominator here. I'm like, okay, guy, you've also been evicted. You're the one who's been evicted from everything. This is my house. Of course roommates are gonna leave and go do things. For one, Nathan didn't even leave because of me. I was like, we've talked to Nathan since and he's cool with us, so no. And then he was like, like no one likes you. Like Sally doesn't like you. And I'm like, I'm friends with Sally. Like we've hung out and we've
known her since high school.
We've known her since high school. Like, I think she likes me. And it's like, well, you never talk to her, do you? And I'm like, yeah, because she works the night shift and I work the day shift. And like I'm just a quiet person, and that's how I interact with people. I'm pretty sure if I talked to Sally and asked if she likes me, she'd say that she likes me. And he was like, yeah, like you might want to say that to yourself, but like none of the neighbors like you. Yeah, Sally doesn't like you. Nathan left because of you. Like, okay, dude. And I'm like, you know what? Like, if I am really like hard to live with, like, why would you want to stay here anyways? Like, you seem so depressed all the time. And then I was like, we already have a roommate lined up with like a really good friend, and we really would like you to be out before then. We didn't want to tell you to make you upset. And he was like, I'm like you have to figure out something else to do, right? He seems to be projecting. Oh, he was major projecting. Yeah. Because he was like, you have like anger issues. I'm like, I don't.
Nope.
I get angry at things. I am passionate, but I don't have anger issues. And I'm like, I have like a wife, I guess a girlfriend who I've had for 8 years. Like, bullshit, people don't like me. You're the one who's like hung up on your ex so hard right now. Like, okay. And I'm like, Sally probably doesn't like you because you're a huge fan of all these like right-wing things too, because he was falling deep into that whole like the PewDiePie like angle thing.
Oh, right.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm like, if you and Sally like actually talked about things, like I don't think she'd like you because she's a huge social justice warrior. Like like please. What a winning conversationalist, right?
Right.
Oh my god. Why didn't you just tell this dude to leave? Because he was like, we did tell him to leave.
Yeah.
And he was like, I don't want to just be like, I don't want to get into a fight with him. Like, I was constantly de-escalating with this guy.
Yeah.
Because like I didn't want him to like get angry or something. Like, he was just like I'm not playing with fire. I was just like, you know what, you're like really miserable here. You seem like you need help. Like maybe you should go live with your family again or something. Like just figure you out, you know? Go do that thing. And he was like, oh, like when I told him that we had another roommate in, like he finally like gave up. And yeah, he ended up moving in with his family again. So like whatever that like
It was also the day he left finally was the day we got Fado.
yes, he was our roommate.
Yeah, Fado was our new roommate that we were moving in.
Yeah, we moved in Fado. He was
And
our boy.
we didn't want Andy to see Fado because he's weird and controlling about dogs. So we were like hiding Fado like in our coats. Just like blocking him from playing with the new puppy.
Yeah.
So we were like, go away.
He's yikes personified. He really was. And he was
Yeah.
so convinced that like I was the only problem. And again, I admit that I am not the best person to hang out with. Like I'm not I'm cool. I'm just cool. I don't know. I'm just not super friendly, which is fine. I don't think it's bad. But I'm also like not a bad person. Like I'm not gonna I never cornered him and was like, you're a horrible person, blah blah blah. Like no.
Oh, do you remember when he made the big post about the bells on our door?
Oh my god. Oh my god, I forgot about the bells.
Okay,
He
so
forgot to private it.
Like after Christmas one year we put bells on our door and then we kept them on there because one, we'd had a break-in, so we were like, let's keep these bells on the door, we can know when people are going in and out.
I also like you can't really see the door from the living room.
Yes.
So I like to hear when somebody's coming in because my family love them. I don't know if they do this now, but
No.
like they used to just open the door and walk inside.
Yeah.
Same with friends and stuff. It's just like I like knowing when someone's entering the house
Totally.
and being alerted to it. And I was like, I'll just keep the bells on. Like I like it.
And then, so this guy, and we kept it on after Christmas and we took down all the other decorations. And then this guy,
He kept removing them. Like
Yeah, I kept thinking they'd like fallen off because they'd be like on the floor or on like the table or something. So I'd go and put them back every morning. So I was like, oh, it probably fell and someone just didn't put it back. But then I saw on Facebook, he made this big long post. Like it was 5 or 6 paragraphs long of like talking about how he was tormented by these bells ringing when Sally would like come home from work in the early morning and it would wake him up and oh my god, they've been here since Christmas, it's so terrible.
it's not Christmas anymore. Why are there Christmas bells?
and he privated it against everyone except for me. I think it was the only one who could see it.
Yeah, I think by accident he didn't private it to you.
Yeah, and so I was like, I took a screenshot and shared it with all our friends. Like, oh my god, help us from this terrible roommate. So what we did then was we ordered more bells, put them on the door.
Because you know how you can train dogs to like boop bells in order to let out? So we got some of those.
We put it on the back door as well.
We were like that kind of petty.
Yeah, true.
I like June is saying like, why didn't you fight him? And I'm like, I would just quietly fight him. Like again,
Bells.
that's my kind of like anger is
Yeah.
like because he would already assume like the most innocuous things were me like fighting against him. So I would do like innocuous things. Like one time, because like I have a bad foot, right? And like he has like a thing about feet. So he was in the kitchen and like he was doing the dishes and then I just walked beside him and emptied my foot water into the basin beside him, and that like for one, like I didn't splash him or anything, but like I got really close. And he was like he was seething about that. And I'm like, I didn't notice. Like, what are you talking about?
Oh, also, do you remember the spoons?
Oh my god, the spoons.
Okay.
I need water.
so-
I'll be back.
Okay, so we have a few different sets of like spoons. And one was like this really, we had like 4 of them from like a set that got misplaced or something, and they're very distinct. They have like a square bottom or something. And so one day I came downstairs and he'd taken all these like spoons and he was putting like black tape on them to like mark them. And I was like, what are you doing? And he was like, you guys keep using all of my spoons. And we were like, those are our spoons. Like, we have like 4 of them. And it turns out he'd brought an identical set of spoons with him, like 3 or 4 of the same kind of spoons, and mixed them in with our cutlery. And he just assumed that we'd been using his spoons. Like, I guess he thought he got 8 more out of nowhere. Yeah, so that was the spoons. It was so annoying.
They weren't even our spoons, they were Sally's.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, okay, the night... Okay, get me all snuggled in.
Okay.
Oh, we'll talk about this guy even more. He was so monarch.
He was so frustrating. So rude.
Because like, I'm only going to say positive things about Sally. I'm not going to complain about her, because she's lovely.
She was.
We just had normal roommate complaints.
Oh, totally.
And we were probably equally bad as Sally. We were not equally as bad as Andy.
There were many times where, because Sally like would sleep during the day because she worked the night shift, and there were so many times where like I'd wake her up by vacuuming or something, and I felt so bad.
Yeah.
And I'm sure she hated me for it.
Yeah, that was the trouble, was we were never able to clean upstairs because she would be sleeping or we would be sleeping, so it was just impossible. Sorry. Right. Why didn't he bother to mark them before if he was so bothered? I don't know. So he brought like a bowl, a plate, a fork, a spoon, and a cup because he didn't want to deal with dishes. It's like, fine, okay, whatever. Unlike Nathan, who would steal your stuff and just... Okay, he probably just didn't notice, but he took one of our mugs and it got so nasty and never cleaned it. Anyways, like the contrast between like Sally and Andy was like Sally noticed that we were running out of things all the time for spoons and plates, so she just bought a set of plates from the dollar store and bought more spoons and
sweet.
more forks and stuff. And then we had more cutlery to use, and she did dishes a lot. I would do them in the afternoon usually, and then she'd do another round at night.
Yeah.
Which was perfectly fine. And I'm like, Andy, if you don't want us using your stuff, keep it in your room. Stop eating downstairs. Leave everyone alone.
Yeah. It's not our problem that you're leaving stuff out.
Also, he would use pots and pans and wouldn't clean them.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
He'd use our stuff.
He would use our stuff. He would just... It's like...
And then make a fuss if you touched anything of his.
Yes. He was very possessive of his things, like his microwave, which I asserted dominance over.
Oh my god.
Spoon thief. Poor
Spoon
mug.
thief.
Engrave the spoons. I do have a spoon that's engraved. It says Salt Lord.
You was it like a Kellogg's contest?
Yeah, it was like if you bought enough of a cereal box, you got a free spoon. And I was like, well, I'm not letting this go to waste. So I got my codes and I got my free spoon, and it came months later. And I was like, oh my god, I forgot about this. It's like, put your name on the spoon. It was like, Salt Lord. I'm like, he gave the spoon. It makes me so mad using pots and pans and not cleaning them. Man, I don't clean up your nasty scraps. That was another thing, is like him and Nathan would like, they were always trying to pay less in rent.
Yeah.
And they were always trying to like get out of things like that. And I'd be like, okay, your rent, for one, our rent that we had them pay was ridiculously small. It was like $200 under anything else in the entire city.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it was as low as you could go here. And Sally paid slightly more because she had a slightly larger room. And so... anyways, like, they always wanted to pay less, and they would do, and we paid more because we took the basement, and we wanted to keep the house for ourselves. Basically, it was like, we have the crappiest place to sleep that has no heat.
Yeah.
is basically a fire hazard because there's no way to escape if you guys set the house on fire. Like,
also,
we just want the house to ourselves.
Also, our washer dryer was down there, and people would constantly come like wake me up to go do their laundry, and I was like, you jerks.
Yeah, they would never obey the laundry times.
Yes, because we just said like, just do laundry when we're awake. Don't do it when we're sleeping.
In Nathan's defense, there's a community washer and dryer in our community.
Yeah.
And he would just use that.
Yes, I think Andy switched to that after he blew up at me about the washer.
Oh my god, right. Because what he would do was he would do his laundry and he'd be like, I have to sit with it. And I'm like, what do you mean you have to sit with your laundry?
It's like, I have to make sure it's clean. And we were like, what?
You don't have to stare at your laundry to make sure it's clean. So we'd spend hours down here, and it was like our bedroom. And I'm like, do you not understand why it's uncomfortable for us to have you in our bedroom for an hour unattended?
Yeah.
He has to keep his laundry. Do nothing to earn a better deal. Yeah. Well, okay, funny thing. Like, I think Nathan had like two experiences. He'd lived in Cambodia and he'd lived with his parents. And so, like, he was like, I don't understand food safety standards. Like, why are they so intense? And I'm like, oh my god, so you don't make everyone sick, Nathan. Like, what are you talking about? Because he worked in food services, and they make us clean things a lot.
Like, yeah, good.
Oh right. Okay, he was like cheap in like a fascinating way. As like he came home one day and he was just like, he had this starry-eyed expression because he always had like this like look of like, wow, like the world is so interesting. And that's why I would tell him fake facts sometimes. I wouldn't let him believe them so long. Okay. But he came home, he was just like starry-eyed, and he always had this expression of like, I want to tell you something. I'm like, okay, what is it, Nathan? And he was like, so I was dumpster diving today, and the craziest thing happened. And it was just like, there was just like a guy in there, and like we just like made eye contact. And I'm like, Nathan, this is why I tell you not to dumpster dive, because there are people who actually probably need to be dumpster diving, who are actually getting stuff out of there that really need it. You don't need the food from the dumpster. Please just pay for your food, okay? Like,
yeah.
like let this guy.
Yeah.
He was constantly dumpster diving. He came home one day because the thing with Nathan was like, the reason he would constantly fall for my things, by the end of like his stay, he would start to be a little skeptical of me. He was like, wait, are you actually telling the truth? And then I would just stare at him to see if he could figure it out. Give him a look of like, I don't know, am I telling the truth? He came home one day because he actually thought I was smart, and I think I blessed his heart, I guess. And he was like, he came to me with this picture, and he's like, so I found these berries in the woods, and I need you to let me know if they are poisonous or not. And I'm like, Nathan, regardless of if you can eat these berries, okay? Like, I understand. For one, I definitely know those berries are poisonous and they're gonna make you sick. Second,
right. It was like, how sick?
Right. He was like how sick? I'm like, don't eat these berries, please. Please, Nathan. Please don't get sick on berries. And I'm like, second, please leave these for the wild animals. Like, here's like facts I actually know, that there's constantly like berry drives at the wildlife center that I follow in our area, because they need to like rehabilitate wildlife and they need natural food to do it. So they'll be like, anyone with like certain types of berry trees, we need berries for them. So please don't take the berries from the wildlife. Buy your food. I know you have money. Like,
well, because like him and I, we had
Nathan was raised by naive alley cats.
He was just raised by raccoons.
Nathan is an OC, I would. Nathan was wonderful.
He was a character, I tell you.
Yeah.
He, oh, well, the thing is, like, I basically knew how much he made because we had the exact same job for a long time, and I knew he was paying, like, less than we were in bills.
Yeah.
I'm like, you have enough money to buy food. Just buy food.
He would make the worst food, too.
Remember he kept making, like, borscht or something?
Yes.
But I don't think he made it correctly.
He didn't know how to season things. He would always look to me for like food advice because like he would be like doing something and I'd be like, don't do it that way, because he had like a whole chicken leg in water and I'm like, okay, boil it, or you could bake it. Just bake the leg. Like, what are you doing? Like all these different things. Anyways, he would always have onions, to bring it back to things the stream loves. He would have onions every day, and he would take the cheese grater to them.
Oh, right.
And just, like, shave them, and the whole house would stink for hours.
Yes. It's the worst.
He also was really bad at making bread. My sister keeps making borscht stuff. It's horrible. I expect the end of the stream to be Ursula being, like, pranked Nathan as a dog.
Be an amazing dog.
Yeah. Andrew wasn't a dog.
No.
And I like onions too. It just smelled really bad.
Yeah, it wasn't like nice cooked onion smell. It was just like
Raw onion, eyes bleeding. Like,
it was so strong. It was just the whole house.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Nathan had friends. Like, he would go out and hang with friends all the time and stuff. Yeah. Like, he was cool. Then there's Andrew, who's like, you have no friends, Bones. No one loves you. And I'm like, I have friends over once a week. What the frick are you talking about?
Right. We literally had like a standing, like, hangout with our friends every Friday.
They secretly hate you, Bones.
It's like, no, I don't think so.
Like, what are you? Sorry, Andy. His name's Andy. He tried to like contact me after he moved out, like sending me memes and stuff. I'm like, we're not friends. I'm
off,
like,
dude.
You're out. I don't even have to pretend to like you anymore. You're abusive. Like,
yeah.
I'm scared I'm gonna be a bad roommate, and now I'm like, no, I think I'll be okay.
Basically, to be a good roommate, clean up after yourself and don't bother your roommates.
Yeah.
That's it.
Andy may have wanted you off of your possible demise. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what was his deal.
Yeah.
He's like, oh my goodness. And Sally was good.
Yes.
Had
Sally
to be
was
a good
darling.
roommate. Go to your room. Yeah. Go to your room. Stay in your room. Never leave your room.
Stay in the room.
I mean, yeah. Living with people is hard. Like, sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Oh, yeah.
I liked him trying to convince us that, like, Sally hated to live there. And, like, as soon as Andrew moved out, sorry, Andy, as soon as he moved out, I saw Sally, like, 50% more.
Yes, she came out way more to, like, hang out.
Yeah.
And do things.
I'm like, have you ever considered that she doesn't like you?
Also, she lived with us for, like, 2 years afterward.
Yeah. And we were the ones who kicked her out.
Yeah, because we were getting married. And
Just because we were getting married, like, and didn't need a roommate and really wanted to clean upstairs, basically. My roommates are trans furries, so we're all awkward.
Hell yeah. We also gave her our cat.
Yes, we did. We gave her a cat. See, we're all good. We're good pals.
Good pals.
I'm
Sally?
surprised. Okay, side note, Madica's been here the whole time and she hasn't even yelled at you guys.
I'm so proud of her.
We usually have to put her away, but she's been just sleeping on my lap.
It's because we ran around this morning.
Yeah.
We've been to exercise our dogs. We've been running them up and down the stairs. Because, like, I'd love to take them for more walks, but oh my god, people do not social distance outside.
They don't.
They will come up to you, and it's like, go, leave. No.
Madica now knows we're talking about her and is making noises.
Yes. Oh, me do.
Everyone's saying they love you.
They do.
You've been a good girl. You can't be a bad roommate if you never see your roommates. Exactly.
Basically, if you clean up after yourself and you never talk to your roommates, that's a good roommate. That's like the bare minimum.
Until they pick fights with you. My problem was like I didn't want to spend my entire life like. My problem was Ursula moved into like one of the smaller rooms once Nathan moved out.
Right.
Like she moved into that room and I stayed in the basement. So I had the basement and living room, which were both areas that were communal at times because people would need to do laundry or they would need to hang out they wouldn't need to hang out in the living room or they'd want to. And the living room's kind of connected to the kitchen by the open window you see in our vlogs. But it was like yeah, it was like I didn't have private time and I worked from home.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'd be like, shut up about your problems. You have a room you can go to. I'm sorry you have to close the door. Why don't you just go out and make friends? That's what everyone else does in this house. Just try to make it like you're not there. Conflict resolution. It's good stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's better not to pick fights.
I also don't know if the one guy from up north was the one causing all the cigarettes.
Yeah, because I think some of our roommates had like friends come over who would smoke.
I don't even know if it was always them either.
Yeah.
Because we also had the drug addict people down the street that would walk by and stuff. And I was like, I'm pretty sure the guy from the north would just sit in his car and smoke half the time.
Yeah.
The guy from the north.
The guy from the north.
So be a ghost. Haunt your roommates. I might seem bad now, but I was always picking fights not so long ago. Yeah, fair, Sam.
You know what? People grow up.
Yeah, you grow up and change. I feel like with like Nathan, it's just like he's probably a lot less naive.
Yeah.
Because yeah, we'd been living a less sheltered life.
Mm-hmm.
You'd had a job for a while. I guess they were kind of living what life we were living when my dad was here. Because there was a short period of time where me, you, and my dad lived together.
Yes.
Yeah. And we were the annoying ones who didn't pay all the rent and hid in our rooms.
Oh, I had such cheap rent when I was living with you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, like they did.
Yeah.
I used to only pay hydro.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if hydro's changed or anything, but it is so cheap. Oh. It is so cheap now.
I think it's a mixture. I think we have some like government stuff that lowers it.
Yeah.
And also we have less people living here, so we use less energy.
Yeah. Well, do you see my character development was positive? It was. You're secretly good. You're like me.
Secretly good.
Yeah. June has a glow up of the century. I don't want to be in fights, but I always end up in them. Rip. It's sometimes hard to decide if you're the reason why fights are always happening.
Mm-hmm.
But I unanimously understood that Andrew was the reason. Like anyone I talk to is just like, wow, yeah. Oh, he didn't like us turning on the dehumidifier.
Oh, right, because he thought it would short his computer.
Yeah. But we had the dehumidifier because we had a mold problem. And he was like, just turn on the bathroom fan. And I'm like, the bathroom fan sucks. Well, I guess it doesn't.
And, like, I looked it up. I went digging because he was like, I'm worried about it, like, hurting my computer. And I was like, okay, I'll look into it and see if it actually does. Because I don't want to break someone's computer. And then I looked into it, and it's like, as long as you have a surge protector, you're fine. And I was like, do you have a surge protector? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, then let us run the damn humidifier. It's that time. We're not that different, you and I. Such drama. Agreed.
Oh my god. For me, I just made one bad decision that haunts me with drama for years.
Oh no.
I had a huge bunch of drama in like high school.
Yeah, that's high school.
Yeah. What a villain.
Such a villain.
I don't care if I had the moment, like I've been thinking about talking about this. I'm like, I don't care if he hears this.
Yeah.
I would like 100% agree that I'm hard to live with because I'm just constantly in the living room listening to my terrible stuff.
Like all your music about bones.
Yeah.
He's got like a playlist of songs that have bones in them.
No, I have a playlist of songs that have wolf in them.
Oh, okay.
I just have one song with bones in them.
Oh, okay. So it's just that one on repeat.
Yeah.
Good.
Skeleton Appreciation Day.
Hell yeah.
I like it when they say my name. Okay, let's talk about my other roommate, Ursula Gray.
She's the worst. I hate her.
She's my favorite roommate.
Oh my god.
I mean, there's annoying things that both of us do, but we're on the same page.
Totally. We work through our differences so that we don't get divorced.
Me, anyone says battery? Yes. I want a Bones playlist. Like, yeah, roommates are a lot like neighbors too, where it's just like, I don't try to be friends with them, because as soon as like you get more involved, I find whenever you get more involved with someone, like they end up being more of a problem. Like I always decide like who I want to be more than acquaintances with. It's like a weighing of pros and cons. It's like if I have a relationship with this person and it ends poorly, like what happens, and what is gained if I become their friend? It's just like I can make other friends that aren't my neighbors.
Yeah, it's like they're nice, but I don't want to start a problem with my neighbor.
Yeah. I hate having my family in my house, never mind strangers. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I think the nicest thing about having my family move out and live with strangers was that I had more control over, like, I could be like, you know what? I'm tired of living with this stranger.
True, because you can't kick your
Family
out.
Oh, she wants to leave.
Oh, go ahead, Malcolm. Oh, powerful.
Super powerful.
Oh, stretch.
Stretches.
Yeah. I also find as soon as I moved out from my dad's place, I started loving my family a lot more.
Same.
It's like, oh my god, you drove me up the wall when we lived together. Now I love you.
Yeah.
I mean, I always loved them.
That's the thing with friends, too. Sometimes, like, friends are great, but you just can't live with them.
Totally.
But other times, like, you live with your friend, and it's, like, the best time of your life.
Yes.
Oh,
Goodness.
sorry. Pizza burps.
Oh, gosh. Hold on. I need to run to the bathroom.
Okay. My problem is I'm, like, a homebody and an introvert, so I never leave, and I don't want people here. It's like, it's just my default. Living alone with just Ursula is like the best stuff. It's like my happiest family situation ever. I'm kicking myself out from my family. I mean, that's usually the thing, right? Family Ugh. Mine's the weirdest situation where all my family moved out. Maybe Andrew's right. Maybe they just didn't want to deal with me. So they all left. And you know what? That's fine, because I have a nice house and a happy wife. Does Matica count? Matica's alright. She's an alright roommate. I'm going to say Fado's my favorite. I love Matica. I constantly have this conversation of like, I love Matica and I love Serena, but we probably shouldn't have gotten dogs that large. My problem is it's really hard to get small dogs in our area because everyone wants them. So there's never any for adoption. And small dogs tend to be really expensive up front. And then they're like super cheap to take care of. So in the long run, you save money. But every time I see the price tag on a small dog, I'm like, oh, I'll just get like a husky instead. Tiger is a good roommate. Exactly. 100%. Get a tiger. I can't wait until Oh, another story? He would always do like weird, like vague posting on he was like super micromanagey about my animals, which drove me crazy. He would like think that something was wrong with them, and like he had like a picture of Al, and Al was yawning, and he had thought something was wrong with him, and he did a whole bunch of research and found out that lizards also yawn, and I'm like, yeah, he's freaking yawning. You didn't notice that he sneezes constantly? Like, that was the thing that worries me. Not yawning. I can't wait until I leave my family. I'm so sick of them. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Especially with not being able to get away from them. Your pet yawns? How dare? Yeah, lizards can't yawn. It's a mammal thing. Come on. Like, if you want to be panicky about lizard things, sometimes they just stop breathing. Like, lizards like to sit there and just not breathe for a few seconds, and then they breathe so irregularly and weird.
They used to freak me out. I was like, is he okay? And it's just like, yeah, sometimes he doesn't breathe.
Yeah, he just doesn't have to. He doesn't breathe at a constant rate. It's whatever. Oh no, the yawn in my ears. Your roommates are a different breed. I too like to sit and not breathe. You called him and he's in my lap.
I know. Fido. Oh, he's coming over. Come here. My boy. Sounds like me. I can't breathe.
Breathing is too mainstream. He also constantly sneezes, but that's also a skink thing because he's like he buries himself, so he's gotta make sure his nose isn't full of dirt.
Yeah, so he just goes
like Fado, who reverse sneezes, which is horrific.
I know, it's like, Fado, are you dying?
Sneezes inwardly. Oh my goodness, what a poppin' stream. I talked for like an hour about this stuff. I also said I'd get water, and then I walked in and didn't get water, I think.
You fool. What have you done to yourself?
I don't know. Oh, wait, I did get water.
Okay, good.
I just didn't bring it with me.
Fool. Did I tell you guys about how I embarrassed myself at work?
No.
So, I think I told you once. So, I was going to a meeting, like a virtual meeting. And my boss was like, John will be late. He's just taking a bio break, and then he'll meet us.
Oh, right.
And so I, having never heard the term bio break before, assumed it meant, like, he's going for a walk or going to stretch, like taking care of your body or whatever. And so we get on the meeting, and I'm like, oh, John, how was your bio break? And he was like, I drank a lot of coffee today. And I was like, what? And he's like... I was like, wait, what's a bio break? And he was like, it means you're going to the bathroom. I was like, no! I, like, turned red.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Fado and Matika are fighting. They're playing.
Can you hear their snorts in the background?
I think you can hear their snorts in the background.
They're cute.
Same. We all knew what it was, but Ursula did not.
I'm sorry. They always have silly little terms for, like, innocuous stuff.
How was your bio break? I would have told in detail, but, like, I'm that kind of person. I'm, like, really proud of my biological functions. I've been like, it's not the best today. I had a lot of pizza. Okay.
He's wildin'.
Oh, my God. Yo, John is pooping.
I know, I'm like, why did you tell me this? Why not just say he'll be like a couple minutes late? Of course, Matika would fight Fado. She's being very gentle. She's just laying on the floor.
She's really good at playing with Fado, unlike Serena.
Serena's just like, I will jump on his head and crush him.
Serena's like, you want to throw down? I will. Marika's like, oh, he's small. I gotta be gentle.
Yeah. Marika's good. Serena is baby. John is answering the call of nature.
John is taking a fat one right now. I would assume that was like, he's like taking a fat rip, you know? Like, that one would confuse me if it was.
A fat one?
Man, when you have fiber, things go wild.
Oh my god, okay, we're not talking about this. I snorted and hurt my throat.
With fiber, you can get like a 2-footer out.
Stop! You're so gross. Worst roommate and constantly talks about poop.
Poo Poo McKay. You brought up poo poo. It's my time.
I didn't.
You were the one who brought up poo poo. What are you talking about? That's literally what you did. You were like, hey, I want to hear this story about when I didn't know that John was pooping.
I'm crying. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm cackling. Oh, be less funny, okay. I will try. Oh my god. Ursula's disrespectful of poo-poos, of course. And then Bones got muted. No, he left. He went to go let the dogs outside for their bio break. Oh my god. Come on, Karen, respect the poo-poo. How dare you, Karen me? Oh. Oh, goodness. Guys, I got a lot of art done today. Ooh, woo. I stepped out to feed my cat and came back. What did I miss? You missed a very heated discussion about poo-poo. Vito, where's your collar? Where did you put it? Always losing it.
Somewhere in the couch, I bet.
Probably, because Bones just takes off their collars and then they disappear into the